Welcome back to Fast Market here on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest for our cash tag segment. That's going to be Landon Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio. Welcome back to the show, Landon.
Hey, Tom. Good to see you.
All right. So I saw the numbers from TSA data. 2.56 million air travelers on Sunday. Thank goodness I did not have to go near O'Hare Airport this weekend. But we're starting to see these numbers get back to 2019 levels. But one of the concerns I have, Landon, is the fact that if you look at the amount that you're paying above what you did last year as far as ticket prices, it's 30%. This isn't sustainable, is it? Because we got the airlines down after these decent TSA numbers.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, you know, when I moved to Florida about a year and a half ago, one of the things was, well, I can always fly back and see friends and family anytime I want. And I think prices are like almost doubled since then. It is insane how much prices are up for air travel. And I think it's just capacity. I mean, every flight is full now. There's not as many flights being offered to clients or to customers. And so they're all jamming them in and charging whatever they want. So hopefully free markets are going to correct this and they're going to start opening up. And we'll see how that goes. But I think we're all trying to get back to normal, including the airlines, from COVID. And you can kind of see people talking about how price sensitive they are. Those concerns are up about 71% year over year. People talking about how high prices are and how frustrated they are with those high prices. Now, you're right, the capacity at the TSA numbers it was up about 12% year over year, just a little bit under 2019 levels. So we're almost back to normal as far as the number of people flying. And then when you look at which airlines they like to fly, we've actually, it always used to be Southwest and Delta at the top of the happiness curve. But United has actually snuck up in there and they're kind of hanging in with those others. And it's sort of three good providers right now. With American being the one that everyone's kind of anti among the big four. I mean, you can get into the others like Spirit, and they have very low numbers, but there is a huge gap here between the top three as far as happiness and American, and they are falling way behind. Very concerning for that. As you know, we always look at things like purchase intent and web visits and things like that to determine how much demand there is. But for a longer term perspective, happiness is extremely predictive. Because if you're losing customers, they're not coming back. If you're giving them an unfavorable experience, they're not coming back. And this is a big spread. I mean, 10, 11, 12-point spread between American and the other three is extremely concerning long term. And it actually shows up in all of the other data that we've got. When we look at, for example, the number of unique visitors to the websites of these different companies, those three with the high happiness are all in the plus 15 to 17% range. But when you look at American, they're actually down about 14%. They're the only one who's sort of losing customers, and the others are all gaining. So I think that the story with the airlines is American is really falling behind, and the others are doing just fine right now. I think they're doing well with the pricing. They're going to make money there. The capacity, they're able to cut costs. And so obviously they've got concerns, fuel prices and all that, labor. But overall, I think the industry is basically back to normal, almost back to normal. And three of the four airlines are doing extremely well. American is in trouble, in my opinion.
Landon, hybrid work has created a permanent structure change in leisure demand. That's the quote from United Airlines CEO on their last earnings call. He thinks the hybrid work environment has let leisure travel remain sticky, and that pent-up demand that's been there for so long is he thinks this is going to last through the end of 2023, Landon. And oh, by the way, fuel prices have come down with crude oil prices, so even their expenses are lower now, Landon. Now, everyone understands that their balance sheets still don't look well yet, but at least they have customers. At least they have business. They have a path, just like a lot of travel and cruise lines and hotels and Airbnb. They all have demand for their products, Landon. Isn't this a good sign for the future, at least for the next 13, 14 months?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an interesting angle to think about, the work from home, that just going to cause you to want to travel more. What we're seeing is that mentions of work travel are up about 44%. Mentions of international travel are up about 49%. Leisure is the one sort of hanging behind at about plus 19. And I think a lot of that has to do with price. I mean, when it comes to business travel, the business is generally just going to eat it. There's not a lot of shopping around. You got to get your guy from this meeting to that meeting. You pay what you pay, right? Whatever the price is. But when it comes to leisure travel, there's a lot of options, not just competition among which flight to take or which airline to take, but there's other alternatives. You can do different types of vacation, road trips, and all that. So that's not an option with business, but we're seeing the price impact that leisure travel more. So while I agree with the comments that this work from home is going to cause people to want to go on more vacations, I also know that the pricing is really hitting people hard, and they're weighing their options. So the demand is there, but it's being hurt by the price.
Yeah, and if you look at this chart, the United Global Unique Audience, it's up 17% year over year, as you mentioned, Landon. Is this the opportunity in there as business travel picks up, international travel picks up? They're starting to increase capacity slowly, where they're going to be able to continue to take market share based on maybe this chart and the happiness charts, where they're the only ones that seem to be, moving up that ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that United it's interesting because, like I said, we've always seen Southwest and Delta sort of dominate. Delta was the one that dominated business. Southwest dominated leisure, and they were the two. And then United and American were always kind of the second best when it came to the big four. But now United, over the last 9 months, 12 months, has separated itself from American, left it behind, and now it is sort of comparable in the data to Southwest and Delta. So it's very interesting to see that. And if investors are not taking advantage, I think that there's an opportunity there for sure. And if you did want to get into this, into this space, I'd consider doing any kind of pair trade that involved a bearish position on American, because it's just such a standout here in the data. And not only the fact that less people are they actually have a decline in users going to their website versus the others have an increase. But this happiness chart is just astounding. I mean, they're getting down to spirit levels on happiness, and it's really, really concerning. People don't fly if they're that unhappy with the product. They're going to pick a different airline in the future. So I do think it does present some options for investors, especially with United, because they're kind of joining the top classes with Delta and Southwest as far as the data goes, and then maybe pair it with something bearish on American.
Yeah, eating my airline's lunch here, it sounds like. It seems like you're more bearish on American as opposed to bullish, but we don't have earnings for about another month and a half, 2 months here in United. If you did have an earnings score, what would it be?
United is fairly neutral, actually slightly leaning bearish because of some of the tendencies that we've seen in the data. Of all of them, I would say that Delta is actually the strongest. It's the most bullish of all four. And then, of course, American is on the far end of the negative scale.
All right. Great stuff, as always, Landon. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
All right. That's Landon Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio, breaking down the data here for us. He was